What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Lid Podcast with your host.
I'm not going to say anything.
Or Legends in Detail Podcast, your host, Corey Hathaway. We also have, as always, Sam Hoffman. Sam, say hi.
What's up, guys?
And filling in again, Brandon. What's your last name, Brandon?
Just Bates.
Bates.
But
That's
thank
it,
you,
yeah.
That makes me feel
Dude, don't tell him
I
that
always
because
wanna say-
Brandon commented.
I did,
Actually,
you
I
commented.
did too. We both commented on the last video, so now they know that it was us.
Yeah, no,
We
they
just
for
look
sure-
like goofballs now. You did this to us.
Dude. I honestly, for a second, I was about to say Brendan Haywood. And I was like, no, wait, he played in the NBA.
It doesn't matter. None of these people care.
Oh,
They don't
yeah.
care.
But today we're talking about Kobe, and we're specifically talking about Kobe from 1996 to 2006, which was basically number 8 Kobe. He had 10 years. Dude, it's kind of wild. Kobe had 10 years as number 8, 10 years as number 24. He had 2 Hall of Fame careers.
He really did.
I don't know if you could say any other player. I mean, I guess you could say LeBron, with number 6, but he only played number 6 for 4 years, so you're not going to...
I don't think LeBron number 6 is a Hall of Famer.
Although he's going back to number 6 now.
Is he?
Yeah, so if he plays a couple more years,
He could.
wins the ring or two,
Yeah.
that'd be pretty cool. Dude, I watched some, I was watching a lot of Kobe videos for this podcast, but inevitably, if you watch a lot of Kobe videos, eventually a LeBron video is going to pop up. And so I started watching it, dude. And let me tell you how quick I forgot how athletic LeBron was. Dude, in those early Cleveland days, he was as every bit athletic as Michael Jordan or any other all-time greats. It was unbelievable.
Well, he had the most NBA-ready body, I think.
Oh,
I've ever
for sure.
seen.
16, he could have
right.
came into the league.
It was insane. I mean, just seeing him on the front of that magazine when he was played for the Irish,
Mhm.
it was, I guess, it was his first
St.
team.
Vincent, St. Mary.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. That was a grown man. That was like peak LeBron coming.
Yeah, I feel like the world had never seen somebody that, ripped.
Is unbelievable.
Being able to jump like that. Like, before, the guys who could soar weren't just huge like that. Now you have people like Zion.
Yeah, Zion.
So...
It's kind of wild. Like, I was thinking about it, and Skip Bayless has said, "Oh, Michael Jordan's way more athletic than LeBron," and I guess in some ways, like if you want to say like Michael Jordan could jump higher or something like, or maybe he is quicker, but LeBron was also 50 pounds heavier.
Mhm.
And
I'm really
too
not.
much
I'm not sure that Jordan was that much quicker or could jump that much high. I think
he was
it was
quicker.
a lot closer than.
I think it was close. It's tough too because the error difference and
Right,
the
the guys that
level of
was guarding
competition.
him, yeah, it makes a big difference just from the look of it.
Because you go back and watch Jordan closely, and a lot of those guys guarding him, like Danny Ainge is trying to check Michael Jordan in the NBA Finals, and you're like, what? Of course Michael Jordan's going to win this every single time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess we could talk a little bit about Kobe,
Might as well.
Yeah, might as well keep like the same flow that we had last time. I feel like that worked out pretty well for us.
I think so.
Yeah. So he was drafted in 1996, taken with the 13th pick overall by the Charlotte Hornets.
I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So drafted by the Charlotte Hornets, immediately traded. Excuse me. Immediately
Dude,
traded.
Come on.
Something got caught in my throat and it hurt so bad.
That better not happen again.
No, it won't. But he is immediately traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. And this is it ties into Jerry West a little bit because Jerry West orchestrated that trade to get Kobe Bryant over there.
I did not know that.
Yeah, apparently he would scout out. And it was crazy at that time, Kobe coming straight from high school. Kobe was the first guard ever drafted out of high school. He was the first ever guard to do that.
So
And-
before Kobe, who were the guys drafted straight out of high school? Like KG.
Kevin
I know
Garnett,
KG was.
yeah.
Al Jefferson hadn't been drafted
No.
yet. He was drafted straight out.
It was really kind of just unheard of until Kobe did it.
Uh-huh.
And at that time, there really wasn't there was hype around him. He was known as the best college player ever. However, that was pretty short till LeBron rolled around. But he was known as the best high school player ever. And for Jerry West to take Kobe Bryant, to trade to get Kobe Bryant, it was very risky for Jerry West. They were like, what are you doing? Taking a high school kid? It was very risky for him to do it. But Jerry West said he saw something in Kobe, and that's why he ended up trading for him.
So I've heard both ways that it was Kobe who wanted out of Charlotte, and I've heard that it was a legit trade where it was just the two organizations and the player had nothing to do with it. So you're saying it was all Jerry and it wasn't Kobe trying to oust his way out of Charlotte?
No, I don't think it was Kobe trying. I think Kobe, wherever he would have landed, he'd have balled out. And I think he'd have probably
he
stayed
would've.
there his whole career, too.
Yeah.
I think that was more Jerry West realizing, like,
That
this
just
kid's
makes
got
me
it.
sad when you say that. Just
Yeah,
oh my
it's
god.
awful.
I mean,
But I mean, Kobe wanted to play in the big time lights. I mean, he wanted
Yeah.
to play in LA. Like,
yeah.
I mean, could you talk? I mean, were the rules the same back then as far as talking to prospects and talking to? Because I mean, he wasn't in college, he wasn't playing NCAA rules don't matter. But like, could they have possibly like had a talk with him, known him a little bit better than the Lakers organization?
I
Maybe.
guess. I have no idea. I just know that on his first contract
So it was
he
quick.
signed, he had to get his parents to co-sign because he's 17.
Oh wow,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
wow.
That's pretty wild to think.
That's
17
really
years old.
crazy. That's really crazy.
Dude, that draft class, though, 1996, one of the
Mhm.
best draft classes ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I was looking, I did not realize, like, I knew Allen Iverson was in the same draft class, but I didn't know Stephon Marbury, who really, honestly, was better in China than he ever was in the United
He
States.
sold the hell out of a shoe.
Dude,
though.
he did. He made
sold the
so
hell
much
out of that
money.
shoe. and for cheap. Shout out to him. He kept the price point down,
Yeah.
and that was a big thing. Nobody did that.
Ray Allen. I love Ray Allen, dude. Ray
Dude.
Allen, that shot in Game 6 is one of the greatest clutch shots, if not the greatest
That whole
clutch shot
play
ever.
was just majestic.
Dude, that was
Ray Allen is just poetry in motion.
Dude,
like
it's
he's so
unbelievable.
fun to watch.
Yeah, a guy who I believe right now could give you 10 minutes in the NBA game. I think he's still in shape. I think the jumper's still wet.
Oh, you know it is.
Yeah, dude. Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
he can
he's
stand there at the
unbelievable.
3-point line.
Yeah. He probably can't defend anyone, but hell, no
No.
one else defends in the NBA.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Antoine Walker, he had a solid career.
Mhm.
He won a ring. And then obviously Kobe was in that draft. Peja Stojakovic, he was a beast. He was on that championship squad with the Dallas Mavericks in 2011. So, fuck him.
He wasn't playing like meaningful minutes in the playoffs. was he?
No, dude, he was guarding Dwayne Wade at one point and not doing terrible. Like, obviously, it's Dwayne Wade. So Dwayne
He's a
Wade's
lot
gonna-
longer than.
Dude,
Yeah,
Peja
Wade.
couldn't
So they just
guard
took
a
a side.
stick if it was Steve. Like he just couldn't. Steve Nash, another guy, a little bit underrated, honestly. Like, go back and watch some of Steve Nash highlights. He was a beast.
Do you think Steve Nash is underrated?
Well, if you look at so he won 2 MVPs.
Because
You could
people
argue-
usually take issue with him winning 2 MVPs.
I think a lot of times people like to say, "Oh, he didn't make a finals, so therefore he's not." But in reality, look at the level of competition Steve Nash had. He had to go up against prime Spurs, go up against prime Kobe. Like, it was not, it's not an easy time for him.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, it's one of the hardest times.
Yeah, and honestly, if you really want to look at it, he got screwed a couple times too. Like when they suspended Amari Stoudemire in the playoffs, that was BS. That was crazy. Steve Nash, he was before his time. If he'd have been born in today's era, you tell me he couldn't do what Trae Young did. Like, he was a better shooter than Trae Young, and he plays very similar to the style. So I think Steve Nash is very underrated, but also he's got two MVPs that arguably he shouldn't have got either one of them. So it's like, because I mean, that's kind of crazy for Shaq to have 1 MVP, Kobe to have 1 MVP, and Steve Nash have 2. Like, it's kind of
So you got Ray Allen and Steve Nash in one draft. Like, those are 2
Yeah.
of the best shooters of all time.
Yeah. And Jermaine O'Neal, he was a beast. Like,
I had some
Yeah.
mixed feelings. I had some very mixed feelings.
Why is that?
When he was on the Heat,
Oh,
he bummed me out hard, man. I mean, he could play well, but I mean, it was just he didn't look like he knew what he was doing out there.
Yeah.
He was old.
And my personal favorite, Big Z.
Yeah.
No.
Gotta love him. Hey, playing in
I like
NBA 2K, whatever you, I mean, couple 2 or 3 years. I mean, he could block shot. They'd shoot a 3 and he'd just fly out there and smack it in the 8th row. Like, he was a fun.
He made an All-Star team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What was that? Was that 03?
I want to say it was,
It's
yeah.
got to be. That was like their year. They were stunting that year.
That's like the main guy besides LeBron that I remember from those Cavs teams.
Yeah, I don't remember who else was on that team. Monte
Mo
Ellis?
Williams.
Mo Williams, of
yeah.
course. Mo
Delonte
Williams, right.
West.
Delonte West. I
Yeah.
just said that it wasn't that.
They had Antoine Jameson for a
like
little
a
bit.
year.
Yeah, and then they had Shaq was on there for a little bit, but by that point, I mean, Shaq was. Whew,
He was just hanging in there.
yeah, he
Yeah.
was just trying. He was chasing that 5th ring to beat Kobe. That's all that was.
Yeah, well, I'm sure.
Yeah. Kobe. So he had 10-year career. Career numbers. 20,
No. Number 8, 10-year career.
Oh yeah, number
20-year
8, 10-year career. You're right.
Wait,
Career numbers for his number 8 jersey: 23.9 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, 4.5 assists, 1.5 steals, 0.6 blocks, 2.9 turnovers a game. And he did this 45% field goal percentage, 33.6 3-point percentage, and then 83.4 free throw percentage. So I didn't realize his 3-point shooting.
It was not good.
It was not great. That is for sure.
Well, a lot of that's volume as well. I mean,
Yeah.
he went out there to throw up a lot of shots, and his
So
mentality
then-
was kind of like
Yeah. No doubt it's like degree of difficulty, but then the question is, should he have been taking those
right.
shots?
No, absolutely, especially on those teams that were so good, and you had great ball movement, and I mean, but I don't know. It was fun to watch.
It was fun to watch.
certainly,
That's why,
I mean,
at some point,
of
I
the-
don't know. When we're talking about Kobe, I just throw my hands up. Like when I see those percentages, I just throw my hands up and I go, "It's
Yeah, who
fun to
cares?"
watch." And he won championships. So what are you gonna say?
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's
It
hard
wasn't
to
good.
argue with 5 championships.
no, it's hard to argue. But I mean, those percentages are not efficient.
No, it's not.
I mean, 45% from the field,
Yeah.
33.6 from 3, not great. But
No, it wasn't. But I think a lot of that has to do also with, his first 3 years in the league, he didn't really start starting until they went on the championship run. His first year in the league, he averaged 7.6 points per game. He's doing 15 minutes a game. And he showed flashes of like what's to come, but he didn't get consistent minutes. And then he had a really bad setback in the playoffs when they faced the Utah Jazz in 1996-97. And they were down 3-1. In the fourth quarter, they decided to go to Kobe to give him some minutes. And Kobe ends up shooting 4 air balls in the
Damn.
fourth quarter.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I wish you hadn't told me that.
Yeah, I
do
know.
you think that? What do you think the consensus was after his rookie year? Like, do you think people thought he was a bust?
No, I don't think so. I think, then
I think
again,
a lot of people probably thought he was a bust.
with the way media is today, for sure. But at the time, from the videos I watched and stuff, and it's so hard to tell because we weren't there, so we didn't get to see like the daily broadcast and stuff. But I'd imagine it was like, this is not good. Like, this is going to haunt him. He's got to show redemption type of deal. But he was only averaging 7 points a game. So it's like, but the thing is that it seemed like, and I don't know this to be true, but this is what it seemed like. It seemed like the NBA kind of knew Mike was getting a little bit older at this point. Like, how many more years can we realistically squeeze out of this Chicago Bull dynasty? Scottie Pippen's got a lot of injuries. Dennis Rodman, can he really play as the 3-point shot gets better and better? It seemed like the NBA was ready to give it to Kobe, like almost immediately.
Yeah.
Because he was, he's a decent looking guy. He's flashy. His nickname was a showboat or something like that. His
He's
first
good
couple
for
years.
multilingual, so he's good for
Well
sport
spoken,
worldwide.
charismatic,
Yep.
and by his second year, this is what's crazy. His second year in the league, he averaged 15.4 points per game, which is not, that's okay. It's not great, and he was a starter on the All-Star team. That's kind of
What?
wild. Yeah. Like when I saw that, I was like, how is he a
based on
starter?
what? Seriously?
Yeah,
15?
I
How
think
does-
the NBA was really pushing Kobe.
Well, that's
That's
also
crazy.
the LA, they get those kind of, I don't know what to call it exactly, but like being in a big fan base, everybody wants that team to succeed, especially the people running the league,
Yeah,
kinda
for
makes me
sure. I
think.
mean, I'm sure they're trying to
like
push,
put his face out there, as
put
much
his
as
face
possible,
out there, and
absolutely.
make people at least think that he was an icon before he actually.
Because
was.
if he's fun to watch, he puts butts in seats, like 15 points. What's that really
Exactly.
matter? Sell it like next year he's gonna have 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if he's putting asses in the seats, then it's like, well, we got to roll with. I think
For sure.
for some reason, Kobe, it seemed like especially in like our generation. Like our generation really loves Kobe Bryant, or maybe even like a little bit older than we are. They really love Kobe Bryant. It's crazy though because I feel like I missed a majority of his career because I was a LeBron fan, so I was focusing more on LeBron. And it wasn't until, unfortunately, after he passed away and everything, that I actually went back and like learned the story of Kobe and how, you can just see it in his career. I mean, he came in as a 7.6 points per game scorer, and he finished as an all-time great. And it wasn't like he just grew 8 inches. No, it was all earned.
There was the work ethic.
Yeah, the work ethic was the best work ethic, better than Jordan. Even the trainer, Tim Grover, and I guess this is more because I don't think he started working with Tim Grover till after he went to 24 because his knees were starting to bother him. But Tim Grover, the trainer that trained Michael Jordan and trained Kobe, said Michael Jordan worked smarter, Kobe worked harder. Kobe didn't understand what rest was. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, his routines were ridiculous. And then he would hold his teammates to those standards like Swaggy P and expect him to be there at 4 in the morning and putting up jumpers and nah.
Swaggy P's not showing up at 4.
Nah, yeah. Nick Young, he has fun. He lives his life. I like him. I don't, as a player, I don't want him on my team. You know what I mean?
Right.
Kobe really got onto him later in his career. Obviously, that wasn't number 8 Kobe, but I'm imagining he did his younger teammates the same way.
For
as
sure.
Soon as he took over the reins, that it was Kobe's time.
So apparently, Shaq. So it's important to know in 1996, Jerry West executes the trade to get Kobe. He also trades to get Shaq. So Kobe walked into the league with a prime Shaq.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, so after the third year, they lose to the Jazz, they lose to the Jazz again, and then they get swept by the Spurs. That next year, they hired Phil Jackson. And they hired Phil Jackson because they shouldn't have got swept by the Spurs. They were like, we need Phil in order to communicate with Kobe and with Shaq because, Phil's the Zen master, so that's like the whole idea behind it. But what was interesting was apparently, Kobe was 17 walking in there, and Shaq, during the game, Shaq was getting fouled a lot and getting frustrated because he's missing the free throws. And Kobe started just shooting, and Shaq just went up to him and said, "Hey, young fella, you need to pass me the ball." That's my Shaq impression. Like that.
It wasn't bad.
That was fantastic.
Young fella. hey, I need the ball. And apparently Kobe was like, "Why am I going to give you the ball? Just get the rebound." Kobe said that at 17.
I didn't know that was Shaq. I heard
17, you're saying that to a prime Shaq. They came to blows in the locker room. They legitimately got into a fist fight.
That's unfortunate.
I wonder who won.
Yeah, I'd be shocked.
It'd probably be Shaq if I had to guess. But
they wouldn't be friends if Shaq lost that fight. That team would have been floated.
So how is Kobe? No, this might be in bad taste. How did he not die then?
I think they broke it up. As far
I would imagine there's a lot of guys in the locker room.
I don't know how you survive a fight against Shaq.
If you want to find out how Kobe Bryant is, what type of person he is, he had a trainer that did a podcast and said he was just talking to him one-on-one and was like, "Kobe, why are you such an asshole?" And Kobe says, "Man, you think I don't notice when people show up 30 minutes before practice and then leave 20 minutes after practice is done? He's like, you think I'm going to trust them with the final shot?" He's like, "No, I'm not passing them the ball. They don't work hard enough." And that's just the type of person. Kobe said himself in multiple interviews, he's very blunt. So if he feels like someone's not working hard, he will for sure let them know. And I think that's what started the Shaq feud, because Shaq was notoriously known for not working hard. Partly because he didn't have to. I mean, you look at those finals runs, there was no one that could stop him ever. So it's like Shaq was like, "Okay, I don't see a need to have to spend 10 hours in the gym." Kobe did. And then you see Kobe start to get better. And you see Shaq start to fade. And it started the tension between those two.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy because they won 3 rings. But they could have won way more.
Yeah.
They could have won at least 5.
Oh, for sure.
So who do you think's more to blame for the fallout? You think probably Kobe?
I feel like Shaq could be more easygoing and let those things kind of go. I feel like Kobe is the kind of personality where, like, if you do not up that work ethic, he's not going to respect you, and the problem then gets solved no matter how many times the coach is like, hey, go make up with him. You
I
know?
almost feel like Shaq was the one with the bigger ego, although they both had huge egos. But Shaq was the one with the bigger ego. Kobe was harder to get along with just because of his personality.
Yeah, Kobe
Right.
apparently he wouldn't go to team dinners or anything. Like he isolated himself. And
That's
then-
kind of a dick move.
yeah, a lot of
That-
his
that's
teammates,
just-
when Shaq and him got into like the big feud and they were like swinging stuff, apparently like Brian Shaw was on the team. And Brian Shaw said, Kobe, you don't even come hang out with us. Shaq throws parties, you don't even come. Like, what are you doing?
at the gym.
Yeah, he's at the gym. That's pretty much what he's doing. But I would probably say it's probably more Shaq's fault because, dude, when Shaq, what he could have been versus what he ended up being one of the 5 greatest centers ever. He could have been without hands down number 1 and not even really close. But the fact that he didn't work hard, he started getting injured, he started gaining weight, and
I don't think he took. If he took care of his body for longer, he could have.
He could have went on a
5
run.
additional incredible seasons.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
watching him in Cleveland, like he was a big fella. Like he went
huge.
from like yeah.
I didn't realize because I started getting off on tangents on like Shaq and stuff. And with Phoenix, he averaged like 17 and 12. Like he was still putting up pretty good numbers with Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
So like he really didn't. He still had a pretty long career to be that big and that out of
for
shape.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
absolutely.
dominant Shaq
Yeah.
could have lasted for so much longer.
Yeah. So I broke down Kobe's 10-year career as number 8. And so in 1996-97, they lost to the Jazz. They were down by 3-1, and then Kobe has the 4 air balls. Next year, they lose to the Jazz again. The next year after that, this is the lockout season. They get swept by the Spurs. Spurs went on to win that championship. This is where the championship run really starts.
Phil Jackson comes in.
Yeah, Phil Jackson comes in. So Kobe, I think at this point, Kobe has established himself as one of the best shooting guards in the league, if not the best shooting guard in the league. And he's still a number 2, but it's definitely more of a co-superstar rather than Shaq's the superstar and Kobe's just the helping hand. And they rip off 3 of the greatest years ever. I mean, you could argue, I don't think anyone during those 3 years, I mean, they had a couple close series, right? The one against Portland was really close. It went to a game 7. And it looked like the Lakers were going to lose that one. But in the finals particularly, they dominated it. And a large part of it is because Shaq, name the center Shaq went up against in 2000, 2001, 2002.
I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I mean, there was he went up against the Indiana Pacers in 2000. That was their first championship. Deadlift Shrimp was probably their center. I don't even know who their center was, and Shaq just straight dominated. But what a lot of people don't realize is there was actually some controversy in that series. Jalen Rose, member of the Fab Five, he intentionally tried to hurt Kobe Bryant and succeeded. Apparently, Kobe went up for a shot. Jalen Rose intentionally put his feet under him. Kobe lands on his ankle, and that's why, Kobe only got to play like 8 minutes in the game after that. And so it kind of messed up his rhythm, and he did not play particularly well in that series. But that's actually that right there, what happened with Jalen Rose, plays a part into when he scored 81 points. So we'll get back to that when we talk about his 81 points game.
Yeah.
Okay, but was it a rule back then? I mean, now you can't land, or you can't.
Now you can't guard a jump shooter.
No, you can't.
Yeah. Now there's no guarding jump
No, you
shooters
can't
in
do it.
today's NBA.
No.
Well, I remember the last time it was against the Warriors that I saw. That's when I figured out about that story you were telling.
Zaza Pachulia.
Yeah. When he went out, was it Steph or Clay? I think it was Steph. He went out, or not? I'm sorry,
Kawhi.
Kawhi. Yeah. I'm ridiculous. But anyway, yeah. So like that was when I had found out about Jalen Rose thing because people were talking about it on Twitter, and I saw that one, and it was like the same thing. That the rule was established then with that,
Yeah.
not when Kobe was there.
And the thing
That's
is,
probably what helped do
Jalen Rose admits to doing it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's dirty, and it's something where you can make it look unintentional and subtle, but It's incredibly dirty and it's incredibly dangerous.
So they win that championship, and everyone's celebrating. Everything's good. Kobe goes back to work in the gym to get better. Shaq does not.
I'm sure he parties.
He
Have a good
parties.
time. Yeah.
He parties a lot, comes in out of shape. Kobe came in, got better. If you look at his scoring in the 99-2000 season, he averaged 22.5 points per game. In 2000-2001, he went up to 28.5 points per game. So he is a legitimate superstar at this point in his career. And Shaq out of shape. There's a lot of friction. They don't really know if they're going to repeat as champions. Actually, apparently, there was like a bunch of quotes going around. I took pictures of them, but then my damn phone died, so I can't pull them up. But there was a lot of quotes where Shaq had a quote where he said, we were, last year when everything ran through me, we were champions. We're hanging banners. The city's screaming. It's like, now we're 23-11. You tell me what's going on. There was points in the season where Shaq would literally point and say, "That's our problem," and be pointing at Kobe.
Do you think he was threatened by Kobe's work ethic and just maybe throwing him he had to throw Kobe under the bus before Kobe threw him under the bus when things went wrong?
Yeah, I think egos played a part. I think when you have two alpha dogs on the team,
yeah, that's always going to be a problem.
Yeah,
for sure.
And especially when one alpha dog is clearly just physically gifted. Like he's physically gifted, doesn't really have to work that hard. He's just naturally dominant. Whereas the other guy had to work and claw for everything he got. So I think it was just a matter of time. Once Kobe's game got up to where it was on Shaq's level, they were gonna implode. And that's kind of what happened. But that team, that 2000-2001 team is known as one of the greatest teams ever.
Yeah.
Even though their regular season wasn't that great, when they made it to the playoffs, they beat everyone, and it wasn't even close. The only game they lost was against AI and the Philadelphia 76ers, which is the first game of the NBA Finals. They won everything else. So it's one, and Shaq in that series was absolutely just unstoppable. I mean, it was just unbelievable. So they ended up winning another championship. And then the next year after that, 2001, 2002, Kobe's averaging 25.2 points per game. And this is just more of the same. They're breezing by everyone in the playoffs. Shaq and Kobe, they on the court, it's working. In the finals, the hardest series actually was against the Kings. So that was the year they played the Kings with a prime Chris Webber. They had Mike Bibby as well, who's, he was Peja Stojakovic was on that team as well.
Mm-hmm.
They had a pretty solid squad. And now there's a conspiracy on this game, on this series. Tim Donahue, the NBA ref. Gambler. Apparently, Tim Donahue has said that the NBA wanted the Lakers to win this series. And so they started making calls specifically in the favor of the Lakers. And in Game 6, there was 20-some foul calls for the Lakers in the fourth quarter.
When he said that, though, Donahue, he was quoted as saying that after all that stuff about him had already come out and was well known, or before. After, I think that holds a little bit less water,
Yeah.
But he wanted to get back at him maybe a little bit. I mean, I can always see that the big market teams getting those calls, and especially them being have Kobe and Shaq over there. I understand that, but I don't know, man.
Kobe did a podcast. You ever heard of I think it's called Pardon My Take or something like that. It's a podcast. It's on Barstool. They interviewed Kobe, and they brought it up to Kobe about that game being fixed. And Kobe said, so Tim Donahue said that happened. He was like, but did Tim Donahue make them miss 20 foul shots? Because they missed 20 free throws in that game. It's and honestly, Chris Webber was known for choking. Chris Webber's whole career, basically, he was choking the whole career in college and in the pros. So I don't know. I think I think for sure there was some questionable calls. Like I went back and watched some of the highlights, and for sure there was one play in particular where Kobe just straight up clotheslined somebody. Like he just straight up put his elbow in someone's face, and they didn't call it. And it's just like, whoa, like that's pretty crazy. Like they for sure should have called something there.
I also feel like as soon as a conspiracy gets out like that, I mean, I feel like you can go back to most games and pick and choose things that the refs miss. The refs miss half of the fouls that happen.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah.
They're trying their best too, but like, man.
Thank God they missed some of them. Like,
yeah.
Relax. Let them play.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Dude, they need to fix this instant replay stuff.
Oh, dude,
it's horrible.
Although they're really quick with it now, but they just do it way too
They
often.
do it a lot.
It's still not good though. Dude, when we're spending, it used to be one time a game, there was a flagrant foul, and they would argue over if it should be a flagrant foul. Now it's 4 or 5 times a game. Yeah. And it's just
the
like
flagrants are specifically are out of hand.
It's too subjective. It is. They need to just whatever they call on the floor. No arguing. That's what it is. Let's keep it moving. Because how many times they always call it a flagrant one, then they go back to the replay. We wait 35 seconds, 40 seconds for them to be like, we confirmed it's a flagrant one. It's like, bro, we already knew that. You never change your mind. Like just
they're never going to admit they were wrong. Anyway. Yeah, they'll do anything with that.
I don't know what a flagrant foul is in today's basketball. I've seen players get flat out hit in the head and they don't call it. And then I've seen some players just barely push someone and it's a flagrant. And it's like, okay, it's too subjective. There's no point replaying it because everyone can have a different opinion. Whatever you call on the floor, let's keep it moving. Yeah. Because I don't want to have to hear Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson argue over what a flagrant foul is anymore.
Even though Jeff Van Gundy would agree with you, bitching about how long it takes.
I love Jeff Van Gundy, man.
I like him too.
He's so funny, dude.
Yeah, he is.
He is so funny, and he's so real too. Like, he doesn't try.
You can tell the other, like the announcers. I don't even know their names, but his co-announcers, they don't even like him.
No, they don't.
He annoys the shit out of them.
What about Marv Albert retiring?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude's done. One of the greatest, if not the greatest, announcer ever. And he's gone.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have noticed.
Kevin Garnett with a spectacular move. He used to kill that.
Yeah.
Oh man, he was great though. But I like Mike Breen better. I like Mike Breen like when he's like bang,
bang. Oh, yeah. Dude. This is more 24 Kobe, but like him saying bang is like synonymous with his later championships, Kobe's later championships.
Yeah, it really is. Mike Breen's got some of the like even on TikTok and stuff when Mike Breen's making a call. Like they always clip what he's saying because he's just so energetic when I feel like the NBA's done really good with the announcer people that they had. They make it fun to watch, you know. I could do without Mike Breen trying to bring in the I'm from the streets. He does that all the time. Like, man, where I used to play growing up, like that's just a good clean foul. Keep it moving, partner. he's always got to throw some slang in there. It's like, Mark, calm it down. Don't act like you didn't have a $42 steak tonight. Calm it down. I like Mark Jackson, though. He needs a job. I think he should be a coach. He's a good coach.
I don't know. Mark Jackson, I feel like he annoys me because I feel like he has so much knowledge, but he never says much.
Mama, there goes that man.
Hand down, man. He just doesn't say. And I guess catchphrases are fine, but he just doesn't say anything of substance. Like he doesn't break it down and actually tell us what he sees in a play.
My all-time favorite call so far is Mike Breen when the Clippers are playing the Suns and Kawhi's up in the box and Mike Breen, like the Clippers go on a run, they're like hitting shots all over the place and Mike Breen just goes. They cut to Kawhi Leonard. He's just sitting there like this. And Mike Breen's like, Kawhi Leonard going crazy.
At this point, we're just bullying that emotionless man.
Dude, he is a weird cat. Like, he's just different.
I mean, I'm down for the slander. Don't get me wrong. I'll slander him all day, especially about personality. But I don't know, man. I feel like Breen should have left him alone.
Yeah, he probably should. I just thought it was hilarious.
Isolating himself so these things don't happen.
Exactly. He can't escape it. Poor Kawhi.
Yeah.
I don't feel too awful for him.
No.
Especially if he goes to the Mavs.
Dude, he might go to the Mavs.
Yeah.
That'd be a pretty good combination, him and Luka.
Yeah.
If I'm Luka, though, I'd be like, dude, I don't want him.
Yeah, no. If I'm Luka, I mean,
Bro,
the
he
way
might
bullied-
just stop playing. Like, you just don't know with Kawhi.
Yeah,
Kawhi is such a weirdo, man. I don't know. Yeah, but that would be an incredible combination.
It really would be. But I just don't like. If I'm Luca, I'm like, dude, can I count on this guy in the playoffs here? Like, is he
I
gonna
don't
quit?
know if you can, man. I mean, it just seems like that dude he's only committed to himself. He's never committed to any team, any other player, any coach. He's committed to himself, and that's it.
So the Lakers get past the Kings. 7-game series, very hard. Who do they have waiting for them in the finals? The Nets. 2002 Nets. Name the center on that team. There wasn't one. That's the truth. Shaq averaged like 32 and 15. It might have been 36 and 12 or something like that, but it's something crazy he averaged because no one could stop him. They sweep the Nets. They easily win a third championship. And what was crazy though, after that championship, if you go back and watch it, there's not a lot of celebrating going on. Like even like Shaq's and Kobe's reaction to each other after they win, it's a bit awkward. Like it's almost like they don't want to celebrate. You can write that off as saying like, dude, when you win 3 in a row, that third one, you're probably not going to be as pumped as you were on that first one. But it just looked a little weird, and you could tell that there was some friction going on between.
When you can't even manage to be happy together for like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, after a third straight championship, you've done something like incredibly special. Yeah. Even if I hate that guy, I might not celebrate with him. I'm gonna be ecstatic.
Yeah, that's history being made,
right?
Yeah,
that sucks. I mean, because like, what sells even better than a couple superstars is like either superstars being best friends on the same team, just loving each other or hating each other. And I feel like I don't know. So I feel like the media probably definitely pushed it. And again, I wasn't there. I didn't get to see like what was going on. Like if that had been Twitter back then,
dude,
like
wow,
that would have been awesome. I found a great Twitter page which was like old timey basketball, but like if they had Twitter, and he does a great job with it. Like seriously, I've done it for hours. Doesn't get like bad. But anyway.
So, the beginning of the next year, which is the 2002-2003 season, Shaq has an injury to his toe or his feet. Something's wrong with his foot. And so, his famous quote was, "I got hurt on company time, so I'm going to rehab on company time." And so, instead of getting off-season surgery, he waits until the season to begin his surgery, similar to what Scottie Pippen did in the Last Dance documentary, which is actually a pretty good segue. What do y'all think about what Scottie Pippen said? Scottie Pippen going a little wild, ain't he?
Yeah. I don't know why he wants to get all of this off his chest now, but like
I don't get his argument.
Well, he's coming at everybody.
Yeah, he's coming at everybody. I do like that he's like sticking to his guns and like in the interviews, they're asking him some pretty tough questions and he's like answering all of them and stuff. And honestly, I felt like in the Last Dance, Jordan kind of did him dirty a little bit. Like, dude, without Scottie Pippen, y'all might win some, but I doubt you're going to be winning. I doubt you're going to win 6 championships.
No,
without Scottie. Like. And for you to go out of your way to show Scott, like Scottie had problems with his contract. Oh, Scottie sat out of a game which Michael Jordan was not even playing, and still felt the need to put that in his documentary. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Like and then Scottie had a migraine, so we lost that series to Detroit. Oh, Scottie's back was hurting in the biggest moment, so like I was like, dude. That's pretty crazy to do to unquestionably the second best player on that team and arguably a top 10 player in the league at that time. So I didn't like the way Jordan did it. So, and then also you got to also remember Scottie lost a kid. His wife, I don't know if y'all heard about his wife, but
wait, lost a kid when?
This was recent. It happened and like
really?
Yeah. It wasn't that long ago that he lost a kid. And then also Scotty, also his wife, he's going through a divorce with his wife. His wife is sleeping with everybody right now.
Yeah, she's going through her like missed 20s or
Yep.
something. Like I don't know if they got married super young. I mean, she would have had to. She looks fantastic.
And then and then the Last Dance documentary comes out, and it's basically saying that Michael Jordan really
he did get hit with a lot.
Yeah, like that's a lot to deal with at one time. So I can
For
understand from Scotty's standpoint. He's like, dude, if y'all gonna do me like that, I'm doing everyone.
And he also didn't he played for so much less than what he deserved. And like I didn't really know that until the Last Dance and stuff like that. And you start looking at it like he should have been getting paid, and he was not. And I feel like that's kind of why he's a little upset now, because he's like, I was about as unselfish as you can ask me to be. He kept that team together, and then like to get blamed, I agree, he did get hit with a lot.
That's pretty crazy though to call Phil Jackson racist though.
I don't know, man. I mean, some of the stuff I've seen, I know Brandon agrees with me. It's pretty bad.
Like what?
I went back and looked specifically.
Let me try and find.
Yeah, I don't want to misquote or anything, so that's good. That's a good idea. But no, I mean, I would thought it was pretty crazy when he said that he was clearly just hurt and like lashing out, but like, nah.
All right, so
because my thing is that Scotty's not the only black player that Phil Jackson has coached, and every other player loves him.
Right.
So it might just be Phil Jackson don't like Scotty.
No, for sure. Yeah. That's the first thing I thought.
Yeah.
Because like even when he was answering those questions, that guy, like he was like, I don't want to say being evasive, but he definitely wasn't like, he didn't want to have that conversation.
So these are quotes from a book that Phil Jackson wrote in 1976 called Maverick.
I'm glad you brought this up because this is good. Go ahead.
White players are more often willing to run patterns and work collectively. Because of the predominance of blacks in pro basketball, the sport is rapidly disintegrating into a one-on-one sport. There are only 5 or 6 NBA teams who play with more than a superficial degree of team unity.
Okay, so in his defense, not to defend, but I will say because I just watched the podcast on this yesterday. I watched the podcast on Rick Barry, which, by the way, we're gonna break down on this thing because Rick Barry, dude, let me tell you, hooper. But forgotten because the ABA split in 1967. He went over to the ABA, and the ABA's games weren't taped, and he basically lost 5 years of his prime that we don't know about. Yeah. But if you look at his numbers, you'd be like, how is he not the greatest small forward ever? Like his numbers are off the charts. But by 1975, the league was predominantly black. To coincide with that, the ratings and everything for basketball was like the lowest it's ever been, and they couldn't even get sponsorship. So I'm thinking that Phil Jackson, obviously that's not good the way he worded it, but we got to remember this.
So this is 1976.
Yeah, so
it's
a little while
something to keep in mind.
But I think what he's saying though is that because of these changes that are happening, the viewership and stuff is going down, and basketball's at an all-time low, but eventually it might go back. I don't know.
Well, he was saying that.
So let's see if you agree.
Okay, let me see it.
Yeah, there's a few.
The starting front court played white basketball, while guards played black basketball.
I don't even know
that one. That one's
76. That's not even.
That one's pretty irredeemable.
I don't even get it. Like, what does that mean?
They're trying to play the guards are playing one-on-one,
ISO and selfish.
Okay, that's not great. Let's see what else. What else did he say?
Okay, so that's all from his book in 1976. Okay. But this is 1999.
This is the book about Kobe, right?
I don't know if this is from a book. It's just a quote.
Okay, go ahead.
This is something Brandon sent me.
All right.
I don't mean to say that as a snide remark towards a certain population in our society, but they have a limitation of their attention span. A lot of it probably due to too much rap music going on in their ears and coming out there.
I forgot about that one.
That's pretty bad.
Okay, I'll tell you what.
He's getting angry as he's saying this.
I'll tell you exactly what this is. Okay, this is a case of somebody living too long. Okay, he was born at a time. He played in the NBA where it was all white people. He lived too long. I don't think this guy is racist. I think sometimes he said some wild shit because he's old.
I think to call him racist is too simple of a description, but I think he's somebody who wanted black people to fit into white society, which isn't racism in like this. It is racist. It is downright racist, but it's a different type of racism than you might think when you just hear somebody being called racist, I guess. But these quotes are not good.
No, they're not good for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard
from his
to.
book, too.
It's just like for me, I just look at it and I go like, Phil Jackson before Scottie Pippen started saying this was known as the greatest coach ever, the guy who could connect with Dennis Rodman, who no one could do.
Yeah.
And now it's forever. No, he was just racist the whole time. It's like, bro, I don't think you can build those relationships if you're truly racist and you hate another race. Why are you working in the NBA?
He definitely didn't hate black people.
Yeah,
just
no,
it wasn't that simple.
He was
trying
annoyed
to say,
by
the changes.
The changes and that he did because the rap music thing. That's just
that's pretty wild. He should have known better than to say rap music specifically.
Well, exactly. Well, because he's getting frustrated. You can tell in those quotes. Like he's just like, "This is the way I want it to be. This is the way it always has been." And the new norm is just kind of shaking him. You can tell.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if you look at the way Phil Jackson, like if you look at his offensive schemes, think about when Michael Jordan retired after 1993. 94, they went from winning 56 games to 55 games, or like 57 games to 55 games, and that was without Jordan. Mm-hmm. And they had Scottie Pippen, and it was just ball move. If you look at Scottie Pippen's numbers, he went from 18 a game to like 21 a game. He wasn't like killing it. They were moving the ball. Right. And so his whole style, the triangle offense, you have to move the ball. It's not a lot of one-on-one. He took Michael Jordan from averaging 36, 37 points a game. The next year, he averaged like 28. So, like, that was Phil Jackson. That's his style of play is we're going to move the ball, no one-on-one. Like, let's, obviously, though, it's hard to defend those quotes.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, it's always more nuanced than when you just pick out the worst quotes that somebody said in their whole lifetime of coaching. But
hopefully,
yeah. I mean, like, okay. I'm sure he wasn't saying racist things at practices.
No.
You know,
like I said, the players loved him. They really loved him. Not even just like a coach. They really, really respected him.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's more nuanced than just saying he is racist or he isn't racist. He's from a different time.
Yeah.
But it doesn't excuse. He clearly said some very regrettable things.
All that said, to your point, Scottie Pippen is absolutely wild now. Right?
Yeah, he's wild.
He's absolutely crazy. So, like, I mean, Phil Jackson's just catching strays from 1976 right now. Off topic.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like I get what Scotty's doing, and I think honestly, I think what they've done to Scotty or what Michael Jordan did to Scotty was just, I don't think it was fair. I don't think LeBron would ever do that in a documentary to somebody.
I don't think so either. No,
even though. You could argue LeBron could. Like, he could turn the documentary and say, look at what Kyrie, or like what Kevin Love did or something. But I don't think LeBron would ever do something like that, especially to a teammate was there for 6 rings.
Right. I mean, he was there for the whole thing, and he was giving it his all, Yeah,
it's just kind of sad that they're not even friends. And they won all that.
I mean, it shows you what it takes to really be at the top flight. I mean, look at Kobe and Shaq, and look at, pretty much. I guarantee you have two, like you said, 2 alpha dogs on the same team. It's going to be, and I think Pippen played the backseat a little bit more and was more willing. That's why it's more ridiculous to me. He was willing to take that backseat role, to win. He wanted to win.
That's what it is too. Is like it's clear who's better. Michael Jordan is better than Scottie Pippen, so the roles are well defined. Everybody knows where their place is. Kobe and Shaq, though, especially as Kobe gets better and better,
definitely fell through.
Shaq has a huge ego.
He's got the biggest ego.
Just watch inside the NBA.
Oh, right. He is so quick to get defensive.
He's very defensive.
You know what I was thinking? I've been watching a lot of these old games. So I went back and watched it was 1972. It was the Lakers versus the Milwaukee Bucks. So it's like Kareem on the Bucks versus Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, Happy Hairston, whatever his name is. He's a beast.
Happy Hairston.
Dude, and let me tell you, Jerry West, quick. Like, unbelievably quick. Like, I was so surprised watching him. I was like, dude, there's no way. And then I was watching him, and I was like, wow, like, he's legitimate quick. Jumper was wet, too. Oh, my goodness, dude. And then Wilt Chamberlain, blocking people, jumping. It was crazy. Kareem didn't play good in that game, though. Like he was missing the sky hook all up and down. But I noticed there were a lot of differences between the old game, like 1972, versus like today. Like today, it's clearly more gauged towards entertainment. And, like even the announcers, the way they talk and stuff, the announcers back then were boring. Bill Russell was terrible on the mic. Oh my God, Bill Russell put you right to sleep rambling.
That's what all I can, I don't watch a lot of the old stuff like any sports, but like when you do it, the difference is astounding.
Dude, I've been watching this guy. You know Bob Ryan is? You ever heard that name?
I have not.
Okay. So he's a sports writer, right? And he covered Boston back in the 60s when they went and won 11 championships. He has seen everyone. He's covered everyone. And he was going through, the NBA released like a top 75 list, and he was breaking down because he's seen everyone. And dude, the way he was breaking down these players and talking about like who's the greatest and stuff, dude, I could listen to that all day. I wish every day he would go through and just, because he was talking about Elgin Baylor. And he was like, people they don't even know because they never saw him play.
Yeah.
It's
like his name at the top of the stat sheet.
Yes, they were like, he is the guy who took basketball from a horizontal game to a vertical game. He's like, because he played so long ago, no one saw him play. They don't understand how good of an athlete these guys were, and it was just wild hearing him break. And then when he talks about Bill Russell and like comparing him to the other great centers, dude, I'm telling you. Go on YouTube, look up Bob Bryant, because that dude understands basketball.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's still now. Now he's old.
Well,
He looks like he's got Parkinson's or something. 'Cause, man, he's shaking all over the place. But he's
definitely old. I mean, for sure, you got to be incredibly old. So I'm guessing he's not doing any of this anymore.
No, he does a couple interviews and stuff. But like they were talking about like Kareem and stuff like that, and then they started throwing around Bill Russell, and so I started. Like doing more research and stuff on Bill Russell and like looking it up, and dude, it's crazy. Just like some of the things, like Bill Simmons is. You probably heard
yeah. Of course.
So Bill Simmons is a big Boston guy as well, and he went to Bill Russell's house and like interviewed him for like a couple days, and they brought up how they won 11 championships, but there was one year that the Hawks beat them. And Bob Pettit was on the Hawks, and Bob Pettit dropped 50 on him in a finals game. And Bill Russell, like to this day, was like, "I was hurt that game." Like, dude will not let it go. Like he's like, "Dude, I was hurt that game. You know that." Like he's just like incredibly just upset about it. Like I don't know, dude. It's just kind of amazing listening to all that and learning more about like the history and stuff and find out how good these, because it's so hard to compare eras, so I listen to guys that actually saw
that's what I was going to say. I mean, like we can sit here and argue all we want to, even MJ versus Kobe, LeBron, any of that stuff.
It's hard because we never saw them,
right? And like I don't know, man, like seeing it live, because like I can't imagine, like people aren't going to understand what it's like to see peak LeBron live, like here in a few years, few generations. Like
it's already happening, dude. My girlfriend's little nephew, he's 10, and me and her father were talking about basketball. He just goes, "Jordan's better than LeBron." I was like, "Dude, you didn't get to see prime Jordan or prime LeBron. How do you know?" And he just goes, "Well, I was like, "Dude, you're seeing this old school LeBron. You didn't see the LeBron that could like jump out of the gym."
Oh, he could shoot now.
Oh. Yeah. But anyways, Kobe won the 1997 dunk competition.
Who else was in that?
Yeah, I have no idea. It does not appear to be a great one because they only showed that. It must have been a trash dunk competition.
Did the league want Kobe to win? Is that what happened?
He did the dunk between the legs, and everyone lost their mind over it. But I don't know.
Well, they give everyone 50s now. So
yeah, they do.
I don't know if they did that back then. But.
They probably did. His father, named Joe Bryant, he played in the NBA and he played in Italy. So Kobe grew up in Italy a little bit as well.
Fluent Italian.
Yep. Let's see here. Youngest starter in All-Star history. We were at the 02-03 season. Okay, so it's important. Shaq, decides to have surgery at the start of the season instead of in all season because he did not want to fuck up his summer.
Understandably.
Comes in out of shape, and by this point, Kobe's averaging 30 a game. So Kobe is now the best player on the team.
And Shaq's the bad guy.
And Shaq's kind of the bad guy. Shaq's out of shape. He's decides to heal on company time. And this is where the fighting and stuff kind of started to happen. So this is where they had the moment where at practice, Kobe was saying Shaq was calling soft fouls. Shaq got upset, slapped Kobe.
Damn, across the face?
Yeah, apparently it was in the face.
Open hand,
Started,
backhand.
open hand, apparently. That started a fight. And then Kobe said, "This is my team now." But with that being said, they managed to put together a decent season, but they ended up losing to the Spurs, which is wild that Tim Duncan was able to single-handedly pulled off, beat the greatest.
Because he was unproblematic.
Dude, because he didn't make mental mistakes.
Nope.
Yeah.
Tim Duncan was about as solid as they come.
Right.
Just
Just to go back.
Mm-hmm.
Kobe said, "This is my team now."
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't tell you what their feud was all about, it was 100% ego. It was an ego battle between those two.
So it was. But then something happened, and we're about to get into it. So they lose to the Spurs. They really should not have lost to the Spurs, which is kind of crazy. This year kind of gets forgotten because you always hear, oh, they won 3 out of 4. But they didn't make it to 4 consecutive finals. They ended up losing to the Spurs. That season was kind of, just terrible. The next year they come back. This is the original super team. Everyone likes to say LeBron started super teams. Everyone likes to say the Boston Celtics started super teams. The Lakers went out and got Gary Payton and Karl Malone in 2004 to go with Shaq and Kobe. And Karl Malone was still putting up pretty good numbers. Gary Payton was past his prime.
I was about to say, Karl Malone was still putting up good numbers.
Still putting up good numbers.
Damn.
Still putting up pretty good numbers.
He had a long career.
So they had a legitimate super team at this point. In the off season is where it starts to go a little bit downhill for Kobe. This is where the sexual assault charge happened. In the off season of 2003, sexual assault charge comes up. Kobe's missing a lot of time because of the charges and being in court, having to fly from Colorado back to LA to play a game, back to Colorado type of deal. Shaq starts saying things to the media like Gary Payton and Karl Malone are here because of me, or saying stuff like, yeah, our whole team's here while Kobe's in court.
Yeah, that's about as petty as it gets. That's just trash.
But with this team being as talented as it is, which it clearly was very talented, they end up making the finals again. And they're going up against the Detroit Pistons, who had no superstar on their team. Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace.
They had stars, just no
No
superstar.
superstar,
Really
sharing the ball, playing hard defense. Karl Malone gets hurt. Lakers lose in 5 games. And now tension is like at an all-time high. Kobe starts saying stuff. This is where I can't believe Kobe did this. He said to the media, he was so upset with Shaq. Shaq was begging for a contract extension, asking for more money, even though Shaq was 31 at this time. He's been injured. He's missed time. He's been lazy. He's been out of shape, asking for the crazy amount of money. Kobe said, if you're going to ask for more money, it's kind of wild when these all-time greats are here basically for nothing. And then if you're going to be the leader of the team, you can't show up out of shape. He says this to the media. Not only that, Kobe also about his sexual assault cases, and I mean you can feel however you want to feel about that, but he also basically threw Shaq under the bus. He basically said, I should have been like Shaq and just paid her off or something like that. Like he says that to the media. It's wild that he would do that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just insane because I really didn't know the stuff going on between them during that time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean,
So it basically got to a point where it was like, we can't have these two guys play together. And then it also got so bad. Shaq's got a lovable personality. Kobe did not really have that at that time. He was more of a hermit crab. And Shaq would basically talk shit about Kobe openly at practice. And Kobe would always wear headphones. And then one day he decided to not plug in the headphones and heard everything that was being said about him. And there was a whole lot of, you can't win without me. I'm the best player on this team. Yada, yada, yada. Kobe was not a big fan of that. So Kobe's contract's up. Shaq wants more money. Kobe's like, either I go or he goes. I can't do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
LA, being smart, Shaq was probably a little bit past his prime at that point. Moved on from Shaq, traded him. As soon as they traded Shaq, Kobe signs a max contract with the LA Lakers.
That's crazy.
And Shaq's gone to the Miami
crazy.
Heat.
It's just crazy how incredibly petty Shaq was the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Kobe hurt his feelings, man. Like, and he just being the kind of person to like not forget that.
Yeah, he couldn't stand not being the best player on the team anymore.
Well, I mean, it was frustrating because like he obviously could have, like you were saying earlier, like he could have extended that dominant Shaq by at least 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not taking care of yourself, rehabbing. If he'd have rehabbed in the summer, like I just don't understand. Like knowing all that now makes me kind of angry. Like I can see where
it does. I mean,
that work ethic like Kobe, you can't really expect everybody to have that same work ethic. But like you can't have a guy like that, the superstar level, that's just like choosing not to be full throttle. You know,
makes you wonder, man. I mean, they could have won more championships, no doubt.
They could at least
who knows how many more. I mean,
dude, think about this. Shaq, 7'1", athletic freak, never led the league in rebounding. His whole time in the career.
What was the most rebounds he ever averaged?
I want to say it.
Like
it was
11,
double
12.
digits for sure, but I don't know. But he never led the league in rebounding, and he for sure should have.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well, especially with Kobe out there hucking him up, like get in position, man.
I mean, once Shaq established his position, you ain't moving him. So that means he's being lazy boxing out.
Now, I will say, in that 03-04 finals, Shaq put up, 26 and 10. Like, it wasn't like he didn't show up because Ben Wallace could not hold Shaq. Like, he's just too small. But Kobe, in that series, just shot the ball terrible. It was clear they were no longer playing together. And I think that was when the feud, the pressure, they probably, they lose a couple games, and then all of a sudden, and Kobe's just jacking up shots. And when you go back and watch that series, that's what stuck out to me. I was like, man, Kobe, he's legitimately being selfish in this series. And that was a little bit hard for me to get past because I was like, dude, they could have beat that Detroit Pistons team.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy too is so during that season, the 03-04 season, Shaq, missed a good portion of it. I believe it was during that season anyway. I think it was during that season. It might have been during the 02-03 season. It was during one of them. Shaq's out. Kobe goes on a streak where he's averaging like 40 points a game. He has 40 points a game for like 9 straight games. He's about to break the record. Phil Jackson calls him into the office and he says, "Hey, I need you to calm down the scoring." And Kobe goes, "What in the hell did you Kobe?" He's like, "What did you just say to me?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, you got to calm down the scoring because we're going to lose the big fella. Big fella feels like he's not being utilized right. We need him in June." And so Kobe says, "Okay, good." Next game, Kobe has like 38, 2 points away, wide open jump shot, passes it down to the big fella instead. And he said, "I did that just to show Shaq, like, hey, I'm willing to work with you."
That's some shit Kobe would do. Like, that's a very Kobe move right there.
That's one thing I like about Kobe is like, he wanted to take the last shot. But I feel like if you would have been like, "Nah, Kobe, I'll take it," he'd be like, "Yeah, that's what I want. Like, do that.
Yeah.
You better make it."
You
miss it, and you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But those types of guys, they want you to challenge them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure. That's what he wanted. He wanted Shaq in the gym with him. I mean, I don't think it was as much an ego as it was, or for Kobe, as it was just like, I'm gonna do this. I've reached this level. You better at least meet me halfway.
Yeah.
Like, try.
So while Shaq and Kobe were winning rings, Jerry West was the GM. And you know, Jerry West played, he averaged 30, Elgin Baylor averaged 30. They were both on the same team. So Kobe was like, I don't think I'm doing enough to where I can make the Hall of Fame based off my numbers alone. Because he's like, I'm averaging, at this time he's averaging like 19 a game. And he was like, that's not good enough to get me into the Hall of Fame. He was like, and he said, how did you guys average 30 on the same team? And Jerry West was trying to explain to him, like, well, we played different back then. Guys were jacking up a lot more shots back then. The pace was a lot faster. It's just a different game. But that attention to detail, Kobe, you know, Bill Russell said Kobe Bryant was the only person to ask him about his method for like scouting on the other team. Like finding out about players on the other team and stuff, and finding out like weaknesses and stuff like that. Like Kobe was willing to go anywhere in order to get that edge that other players just weren't willing to go to.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a student of the game. Smart guy, cerebral player.
Yeah, he definitely was. So it looks like 04-05, Shaq's gone. New Lakers. This is Kobe's boat. These teams that they had out in 04, 05, and then 05, 06. These Laker teams were pathetic. I mean, Kwame Brown's your starting center.
Relax, they'll come after you.
Oh, he will come after you.
Relax.
Yeah,
he
will
is
come
on
after
the
you.
internet. He is scrolling.
Dude, he is, dude. He's got some good content too, but I've
He
been
really
watching
does.
the hell out of him.
No, he really does. I'll watch anything he puts out. You put him on a show, a sports show, or unrelated, I don't even care. I'll watch it.
Yeah, I will too, dude. He's hilarious, man.
Yeah, he's a funny dude.
So he was there. Chris Mims, another guy. You know, like, how do you want Chris Mims on your team? The team just was not good. However, I feel like this part of Kobe's career, they fired Phil Jackson, and then Phil Jackson came back in the 07 season, if I'm not mistaken. And then Kobe, that's when he made the number change and everything. But Kobe had some pretty important things happen. He scored 81 points, which is the second most points ever scored in an NBA game, behind Wilt Chamberlain.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Wilt, who had 100. But honestly, I think the 81 might be more iconic because it's a number that's reachable.
What did Booker have recently? What did Booker have recently?
He had 70.
70. Okay. Right at 70 was 70?
70.
Okay. Because that was absurd, and like still, you're not even. I mean, you're close, but
The thing about the Wilt Chamberlain thing is that it wasn't filmed, so no one actually saw it.
there's probably a lot of the same shit.
There's some conspiracies there because they kept track by hand back then.
Right.
I mean, okay,
And
he
then
scored
also-
98. Like,
Oh yeah, that's
come
true.
on,
But
man.
also, Wilt Chamberlain was a historically terrible free throw shooter, and he went like 26 of 30 that game from the free throw line, which is very suspicious to say the
I mean,
least.
that doesn't mean that
Everybody
everybody
turned
But
around.
with that being said, I think Wilt. Look, maybe they gave him a point or two, you know, but I think Wilt still had an amazing night, and I'll give him the 100 points. But I think this 81 might be more iconic for a couple reasons. Dude, you know what Kevin Durant's career high is?
It's like 30s.
No.
No, it's got to be 50 something.
54. Kobe had 55 and a half.
What? What do you mean?
Kevin Durant's career high is 54 points.
Mhm.
Kobe Bryant had 55 points and a half.
Oh, you said.
Dude.
I thought you were like 55 point. I was like, you can't score
No,
half
I
a
was
point.
way-
No. He had 55 points in a half of basketball.
I got you. Yeah, that's
Dude, if you watch,
the second half against Toronto.
yeah, second half against Toronto. So I went back and I watched that Toronto game all the way from tip to tip, and yeah, yeah, that happened. No, I watched it all the way through. In the first half, he had like 27, and I was thinking to myself, "Am I watching the wrong game?"
I mean, I've watched those highlights several times, just the Kobe highlights, not the whole fucking game. But
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
and
not
then
that
in the
good,
second
but-
half, dude, he just goes nuclear. He's not looking to pass. He's
Yeah.
just like, dude, I'm scoring as many points as I want. And I think a large part of it had to do
You're just sorry. You're just sitting there like, how the hell does he get to 81?
That's what I was thinking.
You know, like, go ahead.
So he, I think he scored 81 on Jalen Rose because of the injury. I think that had a lot to do with it. But also, I watched the interview with Kobe, and so the day that he scored 81 was his grandfather's birthday, and his grandmother was flying out to watch him. First time she's ever watched him, and the only time she ever watched him, and it was on his grandfather's birthday. So he's like, I had to put out a show for her.
Mm-hmm.
This is the only time she was going to watch me. So I think that's also why
he was like, listen here,
81.
fellas, in the locker room. You're probably not going to see much of the ball.
It's almost like, it's just like, I don't know if you piss. It's all mental with Kobe. It almost feels like if the stakes are high enough, and someone pissed him off or something, he'll just score 80 or 81 or 60 in his last game. He just rises to the occasion, unlike possibly anybody in the history of the game.
Yeah, I think so. If you could count on someone you need a bucket.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's hard to go against Kobe Bryant. And the thing I've noticed just watching him is the skill level. A lot of people now are starting to compare Devin Booker to Kobe. And I get it. They do have similar styles of play. They're both shooting guards, both mid-range shooters. Like, I get it. But Devin Booker doesn't have half of the skill that Kobe had. I watched it. Devin Booker's ability to create his own shot is nowhere near what Kobe was. So, and also, Devin Booker's 24. Kobe was 24 with 3 rings, averaging 30. Mm-hmm. So, comparing Devin Booker to Kobe I get it, and it does make sense. And I do think Devin Booker, if he keeps up this level of play, will get to a level like that. But he's got a long ways to go before we start. We're so quick now to start comparing players to all-time greats, like Zion Williams. Like the second he enters the draft, they're talking about comparing him to Charles Barkley or comparing him to LeBron, and it's like, let the guy play a little bit before we start making. Yeah.
He was a complete freak come out of the draft, though. Like, I'm honestly fine with him comparing Zion to those guys because we've just never seen anybody come out.
You saw him playing against those kids in Asheville?
Oh my God, yeah.
That was hilarious. That was a comedy.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Those little kids, like, they probably still dream about it to this day. Wake up like,
yeah,
I don't know, just cold sweats, man.
Yeah, I don't understand how you can be that big and jump the way he does.
Literally, like, broke his shoe completely apart with that dude. I watched it happen live, and I was like, this man's too big for shoes.
Yeah.
Too explosive for his size, specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So, in the 05-06 season, he averages 35.4 points per game, which is up there with Will, up there with Michael Jordan, up there with James Harden.
Yeah.
Unbelievable season. Does not get MVP that year.
So what was their record that year?
It was not good. They made the playoffs, though.
So you're telling me, what was Nash's stats then?
I want to say he was averaging, I know he's averaging double-digit assists. I think he averaged 11 assists. I want to say he averaged like 15 and 11, something like that.
Come on.
It's crazy.
35 points per game,
but you
and probably 5 and 5. 35, 5 and 5 versus.
This is after the sexual assault case. And if you think that doesn't play a role in it, I think the media was kind of done. That's why Kobe, after this season,
the media had to be done with him for at least a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. So, but that was like a solid 2 years before this season, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But that's kind of crazy. Yeah, they probably should have. I mean, for him to drag that team to the playoffs. Now, I will say in that series, though, they played the Phoenix Suns in the first round, and a lot of people say in this series Kobe quit in this series, and I went back and watched it, and it is a little weird to say the least. Kobe at this time he didn't see a shot that he didn't want to take.
No,
and if he saw a triple team, even better.
Mm-hmm.
He went like a whole quarter without shooting the ball. That was very weird.
Knowing Kobe, it feels like he was trying to prove something. What was,
I
he,
think
what was
so.
he trying to prove?
I think he was just like, look at the shit y'all got around me
Yeah.
right now. This
I
is
got
crazy,
you.
dude. And the Phoenix Suns beat the Lakers. Even though Kobe in that series had like a game winner, but the Phoenix Suns still ended up.
That was just instinct.
Mhm.
He's just like,
Yeah,
damn.
it's like, oh,
But still, my point remains.
yeah.
But that was kind of crazy though. Like I did not know that had happened. Like I just assumed that Kobe's team wasn't good and that they just lost. But when I went back and watched it, it was a little weird because he just went passive for like a
Well, him not
stretch of
shooting
the
that
game.
quarter, that's
That's
absolutely
yeah.
insane.
It is.
He's definitely making a point.
Yeah, I
Do you
think
think he was ever
making-
thinking about leaving LA?
Yeah, no, he actually was. So he actually demanded a trade.
No.
Yeah, he did.
Damn.
From LA. Now I don't know if that happened while up to 2006, but I know for a fact he demanded. That's why another thing when people say, "Oh, LeBron had to leave to win rings, Kobe didn't," and it's like Kobe tried to leave.
Yeah.
Kobe tried to leave multiple times, but Kobe had a trade clause in his contract, so he could deny the trade if he didn't like it. So they had a trade for him to go to Detroit. He said, "I don't want to live
What?
in Detroit."
Oh my
And so
God.
they were like, okay. Well, now
we
then
can all
they
understand.
had a
that's
trade for him
insane.
to go to the Bulls, but Kobe felt like they were giving up too much to get him, and he felt like he'd be in the same situation, so he denied that. Eventually, the Lakers was like, "Dude, we can't trade you." So then that's when they went for the Hail Mary and brought in Pau Gasol and everything, and it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they gave up Marc Gasol essentially because they gave up that draft pick.
Pau and Kobe got along way better than Shaq and Kobe.
Oh, hell
They're
yeah,
like really good friends.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Pau knew I'm a number 2.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
Pau said, "Look, I'm trying to win rings."
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, isn't he Gasol's like the godfather, like, I don't know, like
Mhm.
some kind of uncle.
Yeah,
like, you know,
I think he
so
is the
it's like-
godfather of their kid or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, like they're very close. I've seen pictures of him with Kobe's kids.
Also,
recently.
Pau Gasol got a medical degree.
Oh yeah.
Really?
I heard
Yeah.
that. Uh-huh.
Pau
pretty
Gasol,
insane.
man,
Yeah,
Hall of Fame career.
Oh yeah.
One of the 10 best power forwards ever.
certainly the most fun to watch, especially
Really? You
especially
think
put him with Kobe.
top? Is he really top 10 ever?
I would think top 10 power forwards.
Yeah.
He got 2 rings.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he's like right there, right? Like
19 and 10 for his career. I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
Damn. Yeah, you're probably
It's
right.
it's
How
so
long was his
tough.
career? When did he start?
He started
I
because
don't
the
remember
problem
him
was
at
he
all.
was with he was with the Grizzlies, and so no
Mhm.
one. But
So
with the
both
Grizzlies, he
Gasol
was averaging like
brothers?
19 and 10.
Both the Gasol brothers got caught up with the Grizzlies. I
Yeah,
didn't
both
know
of them. This it's funny. So the Grizzlies actually traded. So when they traded Paul Gasol,
that. Uh-huh.
the Lakers traded that pick that turned into Marc Gasol.
Wow.
So that's how that happened.
Brothers getting traded.
Yeah,
That's pretty fun.
I think Mark was probably. I don't know, man. Paul Gasol probably had a better career, but I think at their peaks, Marc Gasol is a little bit better. But Paul Gasol won 2 rings. I mean, what am I going to do with that?
Yeah, Mark's like, I didn't get a Kobe. Don't.
Yeah. Mark did win a ring, though.
You know those Grizzlies teams with Zebo and Marc Gasol were
Solid
fun to
team.
watch. Fun
And-
to watch.
and Mike Conley,
yeah. Yeah.
back when Mike Conley could stay healthy,
Yeah.
they were always just missing one piece.
Mm-hmm. But they were such a ton. Nobody wanted to play against them.
Nobody
Like they were
did.
so physical.
They were so physical. They were good, man. They were
Yeah,
a good
they
team.
were.
It was crazy. DeMarcus Cousins said when they when Marc Gasol and Zebo got broken up, he was like, "Thank God." He was like, "Dude, I'm sick of playing them every night, dude. I get bruised up."
Dude, Zebo would just put his shoulder down and ram into your chest.
Zebo was good, man.
Yeah.
He was really good.
He was.
I think that's it, man. I don't really. Y'all got anything else?
Yeah, I mean, number 8, Kobe. That's. I mean, obviously the story isn't finished, but
yeah.
I learned a lot today, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, I know I missed a good bit of Kobe.
Yeah, see,
being
we
younger,
missed
but,
this.
Like, yeah, some of the drama stuff. So thanks for spilling, man.
Yeah, I
I
didn't.
appreciate that.
I didn't start watching NBA like religiously until 2007.
Yeah,
So I missed number 8 Kobe completely.
yeah. Sam was a much bigger basketball fan earlier than I was.
Yeah.
But did you really watch the NBA like that when you were like younger, or you just?
I did not watch the NBA until I became a Bobcats fan, which was like,
Ooh.
yeah, it was a. tough
Me and Sam
road.
been there, man. We've been to some Bobcats games.
I've been through a
$7.
7-win
Mhm.
season.
Yeah,
But yeah, so I've been watching since like 2005 or something.
Yeah, very,
2006.
Okay, yeah. So you probably saw.
Yeah.
Luckily, though, dude, we live in a time where everything's on YouTube, so you can go and find any interview, and yeah, it's just been it. Dude, I really encourage everyone to go back and watch those like old school games and like to get a feel for the vibe because there's no instant replay, there's no stopping, there's no complaining, there's no showboating. There's like a lot of guys they don't dunk. Like Oscar Robertson dunked one time in practice apparently, and his coach told him if he ever did that again, he wouldn't play for him. Like, because they thought of that as being like showboating back in the day when Oscar Robertson was one of the most athletic players ever, but
you can't ask somebody that can bounce to not bounce. That's just not fair.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we can all agree that dunking is good for the game.
Dunking is
Oh
great.
yeah, for sure.
Dude, I was listening to Daryl Morey on a interview here recently, and because Daryl Morey's the GM, he was the GM for the Rockets, and now he's the GM for the 76ers.
Mm-hmm.
And he's big on analytics, and he was breaking down like shooting threes and free throws. Free throws are the most efficient play you can do, stopping the time, and then and then the 3-point shot. Even if you miss the 3-point shot, it's still valuable because the long rebound. And the way he was breaking it down, and they were like, "Do you think you can honestly win?" And he's like, "Yes, you can win like this. If you can win 65 games in a season, you can win a championship." Like, and he was just, and he was like, 29 other teams lost. No one asked about those teams. Mm-hmm. he was just getting so upset about it. And Bill Simmons was like, "I like this, Daryl. I like this feistiness. This is good." But he's right though. I think honestly,
I like Daryl Morey. I've listened to interviews with him.
Dude, he's smart.
Yeah, he's
really smart. He understands. I think sometimes though you can get over it. Like if you don't have the right personnel. What I'm saying?
But I think Daryl Morey, if you really listen to him, he's one of those guys who does understand the limits of analytics and when, intuition has to come into play.
He has to be like, dude, Ben Simmons analytically is horrendous.
He's like, yeah.
So, dude, we've been going for an hour and 21 minutes. So, real quick.
It's a record.
Yeah, real quick, I guess we could do, playoffs are pretty much over. It's the NBA Finals now. Mm-hmm. It's the Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks. Mm-hmm. It all depends.
Giannis coming back.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. If he's healthy, they'll win. I think. Yeah. And if he's not healthy, I don't think they're going to win. It would be nice to see Chris Paul get a ring.
That's why I'm torn. I don't know.
Although Chris Paul is really hard to root for. He flops all over the court.
He does.
And he complains, and he's kind of an ass.
He's very abrasive and wonders why Pat Bev pushes him in the back.
Bruh.
Pat Bev's a dick, but I can see it.
No,
I can see how you would come to that conclusion.
Chris Paul does it. If Chris Paul wins a ring, I mean, we've talked about it before on this podcast. Like, it just changes his career.
Yeah. He's over John Stockton.
I mean, he can be abrasive on the court for sure, but he's a good guy.
He seems like it. I think it's finally good. Now, does this ring deserve an asterisk, though, because of all the injuries?
Absolutely.
But here's the thing. You could make an argument the last 5 rings deserve asterisks.
Yeah. Nobody is going to remember that asterisk.
No one's going to remember the asterisk.
You'll remember the Suns playing the Bucks, though. In lieu of all these other superstar teams.
Yes, but can we really say? I mean, can we really say those two teams? I don't know. I think people are going to forget about how injury riddled these playoffs were. I mean, it's not like the Bucks and Suns are a completely random matchup. I mean, the Bucks have been good for a while. The Suns.
But they just couldn't get over that. That's what sucks for the Bucks, though. Like, they just couldn't get over that hump. And then now, if they do, Giannis is like, it sucks because it just seems like they could have already won one just off of him alone.
Giannis showed me something this year, though. I will say that, Giannis this year, even though he struggled from 3, even though he struggled from the free throw line, he never stopped being aggressive. Mm-hmm. Where we see a lot of players. When the jump shot's not falling, the free throw's not falling, they stop driving to the basket, they stop being aggressive. Giannis never did that. He was always aggressive. And Chris Middleton, man. Dude, straight up saved the Bucks a couple times.
He showed everybody.
He straight up, like, if a
fun.
random person was just watching the NBA and they happen to see one of those games from Chris Middleton, they'd be like, Chris Middleton's the best player on the court right now.
Yeah.
So I got to give it to him.
He's had an incredible playoff.
He's my second most standout player in the playoffs.
Behind Trae Young.
Because Trae Young, to be 22, yeah, if he'd have stayed healthy, who knows? You know, if the ankle wouldn't have got rolled on the, freak accident on the referee, who knows? But it happened. It sucks. But, man, that Hawks team's pretty legit. Like, they got some good young talent.
They've got a bright future.
Yeah.
Brighter future than Atlanta's had in a lot. Maybe ever.
Yeah.
Maybe ever.
They're probably still one piece away.
Yeah.
They can get one piece. Just one solid, like a Bradley Beal. Yeah. I'm just saying.
That's a big piece.
That's a big piece. That's a massive piece.
Yeah, and I would love for Bradley Beal to get out of there. I don't care where. I don't care where he goes, but I
want him to go to Denver. Him in Denver, dude. God, with Jokic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he won't, though.
Do you think they'd have to give up, like, a Jamal Murray?
I mean, they could give up Michael Porter Jr. Like,
that's
honestly,
true.
Do you really need him if you got Bradley Beal?
No, and
I think he's a little bit overrated.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I think so as well.
But anyways, man, hey, look, it's been real. I think Eric's going to be back next week, so that should be good, I guess. And yeah, man, I think I'm just kidding. I didn't mean it like that. That sounded bad.
We love Eric.
Yeah, we love Eric.
He's taking my job.
Nah, dude. Hey, we'll have you back
and he's taking your turn.
Yeah, it's a vicious world podcast.
Yeah,
I was very grateful to be here for a couple episodes.
It's a revolving door.
And Larry Bird, like.
Yeah, man.
I lived well.
Yeah. Well, we'll have you back on. And then also
you can come on whenever you want,
dude. Whatever fan comments, I'll be reaching out. You're coming on the podcast.
Yeah, we gotta get some more people.
As long as you're within.
Nobody is gonna comment now. They're gonna be like, oh god.
As long as you're within reason, I'm saying if it's a.
We're not buying plane tickets.
I'm not buying plane tickets for anybody. I just had to buy plane tickets. It's ridiculous. All right. Well, hey, we're out. Appreciate it. Oh, next week we're doing a football player, right?
Yeah, Drew Brees.
Yeah, Drew Brees. We're breaking down Drew Brees next week. It's just we're switching it up a little bit. We're gonna do a football player, then we'll go back and we'll finish Kobe after that. So, it's been real, and catch us next week. Thank you.